So remember how I said last video that paragraphs are essentially idea chunks? Well, that means that as you're writing your paragraphs, it's extremely important that you know what the big idea or the main point of those paragraphs are. But it's not just enough that you know it, your reader also needs to know it, which is why we have topic sentences. Every paragraph needs one of these, and a topic sentence is the first sentence, usually, of a paragraph, which introduces the main point of that paragraph. It's essentially a signpost for your reader that this is what the paragraph is going to be about. In the same way that your introduction is supposed to prepare your reader for what's to come in the rest of the paper, your topic sentence should prepare your reader for what's to come in that paragraph. This isn't a detective novel. Get to the point early and don't leave your reader in suspense. Tell them what your paragraph is going to be about. But how do we do this effectively? Because you don't want to start each paragraph with, this paragraph is about blah. You want to be a little more subtle than that. So let's look at an example together and see if we can figure out how to do topic sentences well. Let's say that you're writing an essay on camping, and you had one paragraph that was comparing camping to vacationing in a resort, how it was better to camp than go to a resort for a week. If you had to write that paragraph, what would your topic sentence be? Just take a moment, think about it. You can pause the video if you need to, and think about what you would say in your topic sentence to express the main point of that paragraph. Alright, so I'm going to give us an example here, and let's see how it compares. So I have the topic sentence, there are many reasons why camping is a better vacation option than going to a resort. So if you read that right there, what do you think the main point of that paragraph is? See, what's really convenient is that it's actually expressed for us. It's right there on the page or on the screen. Camping is a better vacation option than going to a resort. Now, you may disagree. You might think that vacationing is better, but for the purposes of this paragraph, this is what we're trying to argue or present, that camping is better. And see how it's right there in the text, clear as day, for your reader to know what's coming in the rest of the paragraph. It really can be that easy. However, what's important for us to remember is that paragraphs don't exist in a vacuum. So you can have this lovely paragraph here that tells us what this is about, but sometimes your paragraphs aren't going to necessarily be existing on their own, or they're going to be set up in some way by a previous paragraph. In that case, maybe you want to write a topic sentence that actually builds on a previous paragraph. And that's what our second example is going to be. So I have now another sentence on the screen. There is much less debate about the relationship between income and happiness within countries. Now, before we go any further, I want you to pause the video and answer two questions. One, what is the main point of this paragraph? And two, how do you think it builds on the paragraph before it in some way? What clues do we have in this topic sentence to tell us what the previous paragraph would have been about and how this one is building on it? So pause the video and answer those two questions. What's the main point? How does it build on the previous paragraph? All right, let's answer that first question first. So what is the main point of this paragraph? Well, it's again very clearly expressed. The relationship between income and happiness within countries. Now notice it doesn't tell us what that relationship is. It doesn't tell us whether it's good or bad, positive or negative, but it tells us that this paragraph is going to be about that relationship, and then the rest of the paragraph can elaborate. But the second question, how does it build on the previous paragraph? Well, that's where those first few words come in handy. There is much less debate. In other words, the previous paragraph was probably talking about something that was more debatable. We don't know exactly what it was about. It was probably about something either with income or with happiness, but we know that whatever the previous paragraph was about was a highly debatable issue. This one, there's a lot less debate. Do you see how that kind of works as a transition? It takes what was discussed in the previous paragraph and sets us up in this paragraph for the next idea to come. Now, for those of you who are still trying to figure out how to do paragraphs well, please don't feel that you have to dive straight in with these complicated transitions. That's not necessarily urgent. What matters right now is making sure that you express that main point. Because remember, that is what a topic sentence is supposed to do. It introduces for your reader what the big idea of this paragraph is, so that in the rest of the paragraph you can elaborate with the evidence and analysis needed to prove it. which is what we're going to look at in the next video.